If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Just download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's Anchor, ANCHOR.FM. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to the Femininity Truth podcast. I am your host, Shania. Today I will be talking about attitude and how having a bad or negative attitude is definitely not feminine at all. Of course, there's going to be situations where you're going to have a bad attitude about, something negative that's going on around us or in our life, And so we're only human and things like that happen, or, getting angry or whatever. We're human, of course. We might not respond the best way, but I'm just talking about bad attitude when it comes to without cause, without anybody having to make us mad or provoke us to have a bad attitude. In my experience, even working a job as a customer service representative over the phones, a lot of women, especially in the USA, just right off bat have a bad attitude. And women of course, many different nations, ethnicities, what they call, different races. There are women in all nations that have bad attitudes, but the ones that really stand out and unfortunately have been the most in my experience is the so-called Black woman. When I say so-called Black woman, Black is not a nationality, is not an origin from a country. It's just Black is a color, and we are descendants of the ancient Hebrews. But for understanding, I just say Black. So, us that are called Black or African American, and even those that are us that are spread out across the world, but mainly this goes for us that are raised in the USA. Most of us just naturally, and it's really unnatural, but naturally have a bad attitude. There's a lot of entitlement that we think we have. We automatically disrespect others if we don't get our way. And a lot of times in my experience, and even taking calls as a customer service rep, most of the time the Black women right off bat, just disrespectful, rude, talk over you when you're trying to help them. Okay? Entitlement. If they can't get their way, they're right about everything. So to have to start off a phone call like that, and I'm not even being disrespectful, I want to help them,
But, it's hard to help someone when you can't get a word in. And right off top, they're disrespectful and rude. So even working at a job, I noticed that most of the rude customers were Black women in the USA. And something's wrong with that. I remember growing up in the 90s, for example, having a bad attitude, especially with the Black women, that was advertised, that was promoted, that was like a cute thing. She could be really pretty and everything, but she would have a bad attitude in the movies and shows that I watched, and it was considered okay, it was cute, and a lot of the Black women imitated that behavior. And to be honest, people are tired of it. That's one of the main reasons they don't even want to deal with us in any area of life, because of the bad attitude. And like I said, this goes to any woman of any nationality, any ethnicity, any country really that has this bad attitude. It's not feminine at all. If we're really about our journey and being more feminine as women, we really need to work on our attitudes. It is not cute. And then the thing is, we teach our girls to be the same way. When we have daughters, when we have nieces, we continue the cycle of being this way, having this bad attitude, being entitled, being rude for no reason to others. That's not feminine at all, and we need to get rid of that. Me, myself, I had to come to realize that in my journey, in my belief, like, we're supposed to be virtuous women, doing good in the world, and part of that is get rid of that bad attitude, the ways that we've been taught in this country. We've been taught that is okay. And it's any woman of any age, from young girls to elderly women. I've seen elderly women with this horrible bad attitude, and it's like, when do we ever just stop and self-examine ourselves? No one wants to be around that, and even to the point that even when we see each other, now certain states, certain parts of the country is worse than others, but it's still there anywhere you go, where a lot of Black women do not even speak to each other. You don't have to be somebody's best friend to say good morning, hello, how are you today? It doesn't mean you're trying to be in somebody's life and be their best friend, but just speak to each other. It's like walking around all the time, not smiling, not speaking to each other. What is this hatred that we have in our hearts on a constant basis? It's just not cute at all. And it's time for us to correct ourselves. And me, myself, I'm constantly working on my attitude to be a better person. But we complain about people stereotyping us for being an angry Black woman when we actually are walking around acting that way. So how could we be complaining about that when we are being that way and embracing that and thinking it's cute to be that way and teaching our daughters to be that way? So yeah, that's definitely not being feminine, walking around with an attitude without cause. Like I said, things happen in our life. It could cause us to have a bad attitude for that moment. That's just the way life is. But I'm just talking about without cause, without anybody having to do anything. Starting off just being rude, disrespectful, entitled. So yes, there are certain things that we can start to do as women to get rid of that. Start to get rid of that. And first, starting off of self-healing and self-examining. Ask ourselves, why do we walk around like that? Recognize it and ask ourselves, why are we walking around like that? What is going on? And start the healing process, however we may have to do that in our personal lives. And some of the ways that we can have a more positive attitude would be smiling and speaking to others. That doesn't hurt to do that. Smiling and speaking to others, whether it's men, whether it's other women. That sends out a positive energy. Waking up and telling others good morning, texting others good morning, sending out that positive energy, being a positive light, being a joy to see, to be around, saying thank you when someone does something for us, or when someone even opens the door. Stop saying, look, those that are doing this, okay, because there have been testimonies of this. When a man is opening the door for you, especially a black man, just say thank you. Why are you assuming that he wants to talk to you? He wants to he's just being nice. So when you accuse him of being thirsty just because he's opening the door, you're really you're basically causing them to not to want to do those nice gestures for us. And that's not okay. Because when they experience that, then it makes them not want to hold the door for another woman again. I'm just using that as an example. There's other things. But just say thank you. Stop thinking a man is always trying to get with you, because that's not true. You really, a lot of us are very arrogant and prideful, and that's not a feminine spirit, nor is it the spirit of the Most High Yah. That's of Satan. So let's just stop being demonic. So yes, just working on each day of doing little things that can increase your positivity from within and have less of a bad attitude. And you'll see the good fruit of that around you in your life. And like I said, this goes for all women, but I just noticed it's so strong with the black woman and the bad attitude, and it's the passing it on generation after generation. It's a serious problem. And the fact that it's very noticeable and is pointed out for a reason. The Most High God is trying to correct us. And we need to humble ourselves, and we need to listen. So with that, I just want to send out that message. Let's work on our attitudes. It takes time, like everything else, baby steps. I'm still learning myself, okay? But it's very tiring. People don't want to be around a woman that's always having a bad attitude, that's rolling her neck, that's rolling her eyes, that always has a smart remark to say in response to someone, that's entitled, that's disrespectful, that thinks they're better than everybody. That's not good feminine energy. with that, I'll end it right there. Thank you for listening. And soon I'll be back with another podcast. Peace.